Alright, guys, welcome back. We are watching Made in Abyss Season 2, Episode 3. Last time, we made it to this weird village place with a bunch of weird monster things, which I think are the people from, Voiko's group and all of that. So, I don't know. Excited to see where that's gonna go. We gotta get our white whistle back. We lost Prushka. And yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. This place seems kind of freaky, but I don't know. Maybe everything will just be a-okay. Nothing bad has ever happened in this show before. So, surely that won't change now, right? I mean, that would be crazy if anything bad ever happened. So, we're watching episode 3 of season 2. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Hi, Voiko. Again, I feel like there's some stuff in this opening that I don't really want to look at it because it just looks like spoilers. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I should read the lyrics. I didn't do that last time. Haven't decided yet if I like this opening more than the first one. I kind of think I do, honestly. But I mean, this is my second time seeing it, so. I just really love like the split screen thing here with like the two groups, you know? Trade all of our scars for fresh bruises. Hmm. Interesting lyrics. I don't know. I think I'd have to think about a lot of the meaning behind that, honestly. Definitely, obviously thematically relevant to a lot of stuff, like dreams and desires, but Village of the Hollows. What was his name again? Maji something, right? I'm sure they'll say it right now, I bet. These are some guys. They're very interested in us. Oh, and they're following us. Okay. Surely that's fine, right? Hmm? Oh, true, right. Oh yeah, but Nanachi said that the force field isn't in here, right? Yeah. Which is crazy. Hmm. Because if it's possible to stop the force field to like control it, I mean, isn't that like just an insane thing, you know? Like, true, right, yeah. It's very helpful in some ways, but also kind of, yeah. Okay, they're timid, I guess. Really, they seem so different, though. Yeah, different. I mean, they seem so different from you or Midi, though, right? Majikaja. Hmm. Sure. I mean, it's impossible to think that all of these people got the blessing in the same way that Nanachi and Bondru did, right? I mean, that would be insane, right? But I don't know. Oh, okay. He's really yeah. I mean, I don't think he's like destroying it, right? Yeah, he's like shaping it, I guess. Okay, sure. I don't know how you can tell, but okay. She just has this connection to Pershka, I suppose. Not in its true form. Give sound to a life's will. Interesting. Yeah, value. Interesting. Okay, I guess we'll be stuck here for a while. We gotta wait for our whistle. Hmm. What is that like something they hunted for food up there? Okay. Yeah, seems so weird, right? Oh, okay. Oh, so this is like a vessel. So I guess he literally is like a gas. Interesting. How does that happen? Right? Hmm. Yeah, it's a busy, bustling place, huh? It's a marketplace, I guess. Ooh, that word yet again, value, huh? Yeah. I wonder if it's price or okay, no, they have a currency, I guess. Okay, okay. Yeah, probably. With the weird way that like time works, right? Oh, what? How is that even? Oh God. Sorry. How does that? How is there a piece of her letter here? Okay, someone like you. Okay. Change into value. What do we mean by that exactly? Okay. She's not for sale. Oh, okay. Right. Great. That's perfect. Great. I I don't think you're going to be getting that, unfortunately. That's very interesting, actually. That literally. No, I think there's something to think about there for sure. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Value. And human children have the most value. Oh, I did not. I was not seeing. I did not see it. The set. Oh no, I think I did. It was like the weird like person looking symbol, right? Yeah. I don't think we have to pretend. Don't worry. Yeah, he's doing much better than back at Edo Front. No, hermit dwellers. What? They're like rabbits that are like, yeah, they have shells, like hermit crabs. Yeah, sure, I guess. Just whatever you want them for. Okay, it's okay, I guess. Interesting. So the value is like, okay, it's if you say so. Right. Oh God, that poor hermit dweller, huh? No, interesting. So the value is like determined individually by other people, right? Yeah. Huh. Interesting. So there's no objective value, essentially. Okay, interesting. So they're bound to this place. So do we not want to engage with any of this then? Would we also become bound to this place if we Oh, yeah. It's her source of the blessing is very different than theirs, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, and this is where they stopped, I suppose. For them, this was the end. Okay, okay. I mean, all of the like monster guys here, they seem so like infantile almost, you know? It's oh. Oh, we're getting separated. Oh god. Don't do that. Oh no. I like we're just going to kill Minya, right? Like that would be insane. Like oh Jesus Christ. There's no way Minya's just dead, right? That would be so awful. Really? Like no way, right? That would actually just be horrible. Okay, Minya's alive. Okay. Just bruised real bad, I guess. I guess. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Okay. What is its value? Yeah, there's no. Well, it's just hard. It's just. Oh, okay. I just don't know if you can, like, assign a value to it, right? There's some things you can't really, like, assign a value to, you know? The balancing. Oh, okay. He's in trouble, I suppose. Okay. I guess there's a system for this. If you mess with someone else's value, I suppose. The balancing, huh? So, like, what? Uh, God, okay. Interesting. Okay. Aw. Interesting. But how does it decide? Okay, and it just gets turned into the money, which I guess is just representative of value. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, yeah, it's based off like the value that other people like individually that people have for it, right? There's no objective system for it, right? There can't be. Hmm. I don't think this is what Rico wanted, right? The protection of the village. Yeah, it's the village itself doing it. Well, I don't. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't have to be like an exchange. Oh, okay. Great. Bye. It's rough. Interesting. True. It's true. If Rico goes says, "Give me back my whistle," Iruburu. Okay, I guess. I guess that's yeah, that's yours. Alrighty. Hmm. So it really is, in a way, like a perfect system, right? Like it's based off the way that people individually value things. That's how like the worth of them is determined, right? But hmm. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Like I guess my thing with this is there's a lot of things that I feel like can't be assigned any kind of value, you know? Like Minia, right? Okay. Interesting. No? What, she's picked up on it somehow? Where are the people who clean up the village, huh? Okay, I guess that worked. Sure, there we go. Assuming, of course, that Rico was actually like, okay, 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 sure, sure. Assuming she's right about what that word means, right? So it's well, like I guess you have to kind of know the language though. Like that doesn't really work most of the time, honestly. Yeah, Nanachi was very bothered by it. Hmm. This music again. We haven't had this music since like the first episode. What are those noises, huh? I guess you have to worry about them scamming you, because then they'll get balanced, right? I suppose, sure. Okay, nice place, I guess. What is this place? Oh, that's. Oh, okay. We were supposed to get human food. I don't know if, really? Okay. Go for it, I guess. Okay, if you say so. Alright. I don't know if I would be brave enough, but. Yeah. Yeah. Minya in the foreground there. True, true. It can't be worse than that. Okay, sure. Oh God. Oh no. It did not work out. But Nanachi's fine, huh? I guess. Sure. Okay, I suppose. So we're splitting up, huh? Oh, something happening? Yeah. Everyone's okay. Something's really happening. What is that guy? The balancing. Oh, that was the same noise that happened, right? What is up, Majikaja? What is going on? Baputa. Okay. Very rare, always very angry. The embodiment of value. Can go anywhere. Interesting. Sure. Oh, okay. Interesting. I feel like we're kind of really making some like logical jumps there, but maybe. Yeah, should we? I don't think we should leave Rico behind alone, right? Okay. Oh, of course, naturally, naturally. What would we do if she died and her value went down? Impossible to decide. Papita or the human child. So they can't leave, right? Like Majika just said they were bound to the village, right? So they just can't leave, I assume, right? Oh, you are something. It's like a big robot guy, like Reg, right? And then, I mean, yeah, and then, okay. Oh, Hime-sama. Princess of the Hollows. She looks, oh, okay. That was a transition, huh? Interesting. Okay, so all of this time ago, there were these robot guys down here. Yeah, interesting. So, I mean, I'm really thinking that these are. Someone had to make these, right? The same place that Reg was made, maybe, right? Okay. Interesting. That transition between Fapta and the girl is very. Yeah, huh? Oh, the same, pretty much same thing Rico was saying. Yeah. We made it. Okay. I thank God we didn't run into that thing. Oh my God. Her long, arduous adventure. Ooh. Unable to find a way to survive. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, that was a good episode. Lots. I feel like we're setting up a lot of stuff thematically. I'm just gonna have to try and like really think about what I think it means, right? This whole value thing obviously is very a lot of depth to it, right? I think there's a lot of meaning you could take from it. Hmm. I think it's very much related to like the idea of the Golden City, right? It's a I think the idea of having this system where there's value that decides like that like gives like a real more concrete meaning to the value of like a desire or a wish or something, right? I think that's something that is in line with what all of these people wanted when they were searching out the Golden City, right? It's supposed to be like fair, I guess, you know. It's supposed to be like the perfect system for wishes and desire. You know what I mean? It's because all of these people, like Voiko, and like she said, like all of them were like outcasts, right? They're people who, in some way, I think, are like spurned by like society. You know, they decided to leave. They decided they wanted to find the Golden City. So I think a system like this weird value system would be very attractive to people with that kind of mindset, right? Huh. Okay. Oh, we got the preview or the next episode name. I mean, Fapta. That's what it's gonna be called. No, friend. Damn it. My predictions have been off. Friend is an interesting name, though. Okay, anyway, we will talk about the episode in the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. Lots of stuff to think about in this one, I feel like. This whole value system, and I kind of talked about it during the end credits there, but this whole value system and that in relation to like what the Golden City was supposed to be, right? I guess I'm imagining now at the end of the episode here, Boyko said they were still not able to survive, right? Like Even with the destination of our long, arduous adventure in sight, we were still unable to find a way to survive, right? Their purpose for coming here, for going down into the abyss, was to find the Golden City, right? What Voiko said in, I think it was episode 1, was about how so many people in Ganja, like her as well, are people who feel kind of like outcasts from society, people who have like been, maybe like rejected by society in some sense, things like that, right? So they want the Golden City. The Golden City could just be representative of, just a better society for them, just this imagined place they have where things could be different, right? And I guess the idea here is, so they got down to the abyss, they found what is supposed to be the Golden City, apparently. And it was still not very good, right? Reiko said they were still unable to survive, right? There are monsters that kill you everywhere, and there's the curse that kills you, and it's rough, right? Descending into the abyss is a difficult thing to do. And immediately what I want to do with that as well is think about that in relation to, like, it being difficult to, like, go further and further into the abyss makes sense from, like, a thematic level, because we've always thought about the abyss as being representative of just like desire and like something you commit yourself to, that kind of thing, right? But for like the people in Ganja, it was like different, right? It was kind of representative of that, right? Because certainly they were going into the abyss with a desire or something that they wanted from it, right? But it was like so. But the thing that they wanted, I think, is so interesting because it's plays into like what the abyss actually is in universe as well, which is a very difficult place to survive in. I would really have to think about that, I feel like, to like think about what kind of meaning you can take from that, because it's kind of like a conflict between like this thematic meaning on one hand versus like literally in universe, the way the abyss works, right? But anyway, so the abyss was still very difficult for them to survive in. So I guess by what I'm imagining, because I'm still pretty sure all of the people down here are like, they're not all members of Ganja, right? We know that now, I guess, right? It seems like a lot of them are just cave raiders who got down here, and this is kind of where they stopped, right? They like got bound to the village, as Majika just said it, essentially, right? As you like trade for stuff or something, right? You give up your human body, and you get a body in line with your desires, however that works. You become bound to the village, right? So I don't think all of these people are from Ganja, right? I think there's a bunch of people who have just like people who just stopped here. This is just where they ended up in the abyss, right? And I think this place is more so supposed to be representative of this, like, of the Golden City, right? Like, let's say, imagine if Wazukyan is here, which I imagine he is, and if he is in some way, like, behind a lot of stuff going on in the village here, like the reason why it works the way it does and all of this, that makes sense, right? Because they said in episode 1 that even if the Golden City doesn't exist, he'll find it anyway. And it's like through this village existing the way it does, and then like making it somehow or whatever. This is the Golden City in a sense, right? This is like representative of the place that they would want to live in, with this system of like value where it's like impossible essentially with the way it works for like people to get like screwed over, I guess, because the value system, it seems like it is like depends on how you value something, right? Which makes so much sense, right? Like the because how do you determine the value of something objectively, like unless you're just like using currency, right? There is currency in this world, but I imagine the currency is like different, right? Because the way the currency works is even the currency seems like its value is based off how much the person who accepts it, or how much, like, when it's generated through the balancing, for example, it's based off how much the person valued those things that are generated, right? So it's like this perfect system in a way where the value of all of these things that all of these different people care about is enforced by the village, and it's like kind of this objective system where the value of what you value is like that's all that matters, right? How much every individual person values these things is how it's like it literally enforced by the village itself, right? It's like every individual person, in a sense, in this village has a way to, like, they have like their own place in society, and they have like the things that they value are like definitionally important in the village, because how much they value them is like all that matters, right? Which is really interesting. It's very interesting. Because I guess that's just kind of how, I don't know. That's kind of just how like life works with a lot of things, right? Like Rico, for example, right? Rico and Nanachi and Reg, all three of them have different things that they care about and that they're going down into the abyss to like pursue, right? And it's impossible to like assign a value to those things, right? Like, that's kind of what this village is for, right? But I mean, like in real life, it's impossible to like assign a value to like those kinds of desires. You know what I mean? Um, and I guess that's like what I guess a system where that's like possible is very interesting. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it yet. Like thematically, what this like means, I feel like it makes sense that it gives all of these people down here an opportunity to like see the things that they value, the things that they care about, like have like a real meaning and purpose down here, right? Because it's just the very fact that they value and care about those things gives them like literal purpose in this society, right? Because then it's like worth more money or whatever, right? Which makes sense with like the reason why they decided to run away and like look for the Golden City in the first place, right? At least the people from Ganja, right? And that still works with like people who go into the abyss, right? Because anyone who goes into the abyss decides to like dedicate themselves to it and go down into it. That's just kind of what it represents in general. They're all going to have their own like reason for wanting to go down into the abyss, right? So it's always going to be people who have like these driving purposes behind them that do find more meaning once they reach the village here, right? But I am just not sure, like, what that means, other than all of that, right? Like, I guess it's really cool, like, what we're doing with that. I'm just not sure what to really make of that yet. Again, this is episode 3, so I'm sure we'll get more. I always feel like I really want to try and figure everything out as quickly as possible, and I think that's just, like, not possible. So I guess that's just where I'm at with this, right? I think it's very interesting what we're doing with this, right? It's certainly it's more just stuff in line with all, everything that season 1 was about, which was about like desire and longing and like goals, right? This certainly is in line with that. Oh god, just really lots of stuff to think about, that's for sure. So anyway, now that we're done rambling about all of that, so there's no force field in here, which is very interesting. Rico can ascend just fine. That's kind of like crazy, right? That the force field can be stopped like this, Like, how did they do this? Isn't that like crazy? If there's some way to control the force field and the curse like that, then I mean, like, why isn't Bondwood getting on that, right? Wouldn't that just be an easy way to like just descend into the abyss and do whatever you want? Just make a giant tower where use the magical force field repellers and go down into the abyss. I don't know. Obviously, I'm like kidding. I know it can't be that serious. I assume this place is like special, and I doubt that's like something that can really be used. But I'm just saying, if Bondrewd could have like been down here, if he had like perfected his experiments earlier and gotten down here, he would have thought this place was crazy, right? Like being able to, like, man, who cares about getting the blessing if you can just destroy the force field and not even have to worry about it anymore, Man. So they're all hollows who have retained their humanity still. I still wonder how that like works exactly, right? They're very different from Nanachi, right? Majikaja even like points that out, right? How they are, of course, they're all Nanachi is a very special case, right? Obviously, all of these people can individually have gone through the same thing that Nanachi and Bondu did to receive the blessing, right? That would be crazy. um, but I guess it's just yet to be seen how exactly they transformed like this. The other question too is like, what does it mean that they're transformed like this, right? Like, so what? So they've lost their humanity in some sense, It's like they gain bodies in line with their desire, right? I guess you could say that's how Majikaja put it, right? I guess you could say, like, what? It's representative in some sense of them giving themselves up entirely to their desire. But that's already kind of like what the Abyss is, right? That was already kind of like, Ganja called themselves a suicide squad for that same reason, right? They were already giving themselves up for their desire to find the Golden City. Rico and Nanachi and Reg, they were already giving themselves up for, their own individual desires going down into the abyss. That's kind of already what it represents. So I'm not really sure what more meaning to take out of the idea of literally, like, not being human anymore and gaining a body that is fit with your desires, right? Maybe what we're exploring here is this idea of a longing or desire being like, not all there is, right? Maybe it's like we're going too far in a sense. The idea of pursuing your desires and your wishes too much to the point where like you lose like who you really are, right? Because your desires and your wishes come from like you as a person, right? The reason why your desires and wishes are important is because you're a person and you care about them, right? It's kind of like the system in the village, right? Like the only reason that anything has value is because people think it has value, and that counts for you too because you're a person, right? So if these people have like truly sacrificed themselves entirely just in the name of this desire, right? Then it's like that then you could say that they've lost what made that desire important in the first place, right? But I don't know. We aren't that far along yet. So I just wonder if that's what we're going to be going into, right? Because obviously this world that they're in, this village, I guess, it's not really a world. It kind of is its own miniature world, right? But the village that they're in is dystopian in like a sense, right? This whole balancing system is kind of creepy. It does seems pretty extreme, right? So maybe that is like what we're getting into here, right? The idea of pursuing your wish and your desire, not like too much, but letting it consume you to the point of like, becoming one of those monsters and losing all meaning otherwise, right? But who knows? We'll see. It is yet to be seen. That is for sure. So we got this guy who's, I guess, Majikaja said he was doing the stone. So I guess he is doing the stone. He is carving Prushka. We kind of got spoiled on this from the opening. I just shouldn't have watched it. But we saw the whistle that's like has like the different design in the opening. Yeah, I guess that's what this guy's doing. So cool. It makes you wonder if other white whistles have been here before, right? Because like this guy knows, or is just this guy was like, I mean, what? Like, was he himself some kind of cave dweller who did a bunch of shit with whistles before, right? Because like, how do they know about this? How do they, you know what I mean? Like, I guess a whole lot of whistles here, right? So I guess he does this, but I get the feeling, of course, that since Prushka like likes it, that he must also somehow be in touch with like knowing what this thing is, right? Like he knows this is like Prushka. He knows this is like a person. But who knows? Who knows? So the village is called Iruburu. Very interesting. I was gonna say I wonder if that means something, but it's in a different language. So like it's in a not real language. I mean, it's like I don't know what meaning you could get from it. So Majikaja is also a hollow. His body is made of smells, and he says something very interesting here. Kaja wanted a body, not a vessel. I don't know. That's a weird line. Let me switch to the other subs for a second. I'm curious. Let me see here. Oh wait, wrong ones, I think. Nope, same thing. Kaja wanted a body, not a vessel. Interesting. Because that makes it sound like it's like a regret, right? That he feels like what? Like he regrets his form that he's in, right? Because like what? He's stuck controlling a vessel and what he really wanted was a body. But his desires instead turned him into just like gas and smells. I don't know. That's interesting. I'm not sure how much to look into that line because that feels like the wording of this is like weird to me. I can't tell if this wording is like accurate or not. Because I feel like it kind of goes against like everything else Majikaja was like saying here, Because it doesn't seem like he's like negative about the whole system they have going on here, but that's what this line like kind of makes you think, right? So that I'm kind of erring on the side of I'm not sure if that wording is like accurate, right? Who knows? Who knows? So we arrive at the marketplace. A marketplace of value. Things and not things can be bartered based on value. Whole lot of stuff here. Lots of old cave raiding equipment. Of course, that makes sense. There is the weird time dilation thing. Somehow there's a part of Liza's notes here, which is like, how? What? How did that happen? I don't know. Like Liza was hanging out here for a while, I guess. I mean, maybe. I guess it seems like probably a lot of white whistles who do their last dive probably come across this place, right? Well, I guess I don't know. They did have to walk into like a weird like cavern type area to like find it. So I guess who knows, but Someone like you can buy anything, just change into value. You yourself, you would fetch a very good value. Human children have the most value. So, okay. I don't know what to make of the idea that, like, her skin and her fat has a lot of value. But human children themselves having a lot of value, I think that makes sense. Because of the way that children kind of represent, I guess you could say, like, potential and, like, children a lot of the time have, like, big aspirations and big dreams, right? I mean, that's kind of Rico. That is Rico, right? So human children having a lot of value in that sense, when what the society values is the idea of like aspirations and dreams and like subjective valuation of things, right? Of course, human children would have a lot of value, right? That makes sense, you know. But unfortunately, Rico is not for sale. Oh, here, let me look at yeah, these coins. They have this one had like the weird like person symbol on it, right? Yeah. Hmm. Very weird. I mean, I guess it's their own writing system, just like the language they speak, right? I mean, it really looks like a stick figure, right? It really does. Is that I don't know. I guess it's like a person, right? Maybe that's what's supposed to be, right? I guess. Hmm. We should try to get some info by pretending to be interested in everything here. You know what, Reg? I don't think we have to pretend. I think Rico is very interested by what's here, right? Think about from Rico's perspective how fucking crazy this place is, you know? She never knew something like this was down in the abyss. Man, some hermit dwellers. And they're alive. In Balitz values having small things crawl around his body. So relatable, maybe. I don't know. Like he likes having some pets, right? Like having a cat on his lap. Like you know, it's like I guess, right? That. But we kind of get some other strange ones. Sabasa likes passing tubes through their body. I, if you say so, I'm not sure what kind of value you get from that, but sure. And Miskaso likes to slice apart the bodies of others, like Rip the Hermit Dweller. I guess that's pretty sad. It's like, is his body just like full of a bunch of like guts and stuff of the things he's sliced up with all these blades? That's, I suppose, I guess. Very specific values, huh? The bodies of all of us hollows more or less take on the shape of our respective desires. We all had desires and challenged the netherworld, but ended up having no place to go and chose to become hollows here. When we offer up our lives here and turn into hollows, we become bound to this place and cannot leave it. So it's like the village offers you the idea of essentially being able to realize your desires, right? It gives you a body in line with that, and it can have like real, true value to other people as well, like in the society, right? Because all that matters is your own subjective valuation of that thing, you know? And in exchange, you become bound to the place and cannot leave it. In exchange, we receive protection and a body in line with our desires, yeah. Unlike us here, you are hollow from the old ritual site. You have a proper life. You must have been protected by a very powerful desire. So, I mean, Majikaja does say here, right, that he makes this distinction between them and Nanachi, saying that Nanachi has a proper life and they don't, right? So maybe Majikaja does in some way have a somewhat of a negative view about what happens here, right? I guess in a sense it is true that they all did have to sacrifice something in order to, like, achieve, you know, this body in line with their desires and, like, find more meaning in, like, their wishes and their desires, right? And I guess the idea is that Nanachi didn't, right? Nanachi herself didn't have to sacrifice anything, right? Midi essentially sacrificed herself for Nanachi, right? Maybe that's the difference there, you know? So all of the hollows seem like, I don't know, they seem so like infantile, and so like especially this pink guy, they seem so infantile and so like not, you know, not like people. um, but I don't know, I guess some of them are like normal, but they all just seem so weird. It really seems like they have lost a lot of like what made them like human, you know. I mean, they beat up Minya, which is like rough. Thank God Minya didn't die. Jeez, that would have been horrible if Minya died. Like, That just would have been so mean that immediately after all of this, everything that happened, Minya just dies immediately. God. Samaji Kaja asked what the value of Minya was, and says, is it so high you can't determine it? And Riko says that's right. For one, I imagine, right, the balancing activates right after Riko says that. I imagine that it's not actually based off what she said. That would be like crazy, right? Because then people would just lie about the value of things, right? I imagine it really is. It's based off like how much she actually values Minya, right? That's how it decides how much to balance off of the pink guy, right? Um, I don't know. It's weird, right? Because it's really hard to think about something like Minya, which Minya can represent a lot of things for Rika, right? Because it's like, it's like so much of like Prushka and all the stuff that happened in the movie is like, that's Minya, right? Um, it's really hard to say that it's even possible to like apply a value to something like that. It's like if someone asks you how much the value of I don't know, your parents is. That's a pretty rough, like, and they wanted you to apply like a numerical value to it with the currency in this village. Just impossible, right? So I don't know, but I guess that's what the village does, right? There has to be some amount of value that it decided Minya has to Riko, and that's how much it decided to take from this guy, right? I mean, I guess it destroys him completely, right? So I don't know. It's very, like, in a sense, again, it is kind of like, it feels like dystopian. Like this weird way of trying to actually directly assign value to things like this. It feels so wrong. Um, but I can understand it from the perspective of someone who, like, from like Roiko's position, for example, who was so like wronged by the world and felt so like her own like autonomy as a human was denied from her for so long, right? Where it's like there's this system where, you know, everyone's things that they value and the things that they care about are like strictly enforced by this system. So it's like impossible for other people to like truly like harm you in that way. Huh. Nanachi is really bothered by it, and I mean, there's a lot of things in Nanachi's past, I guess, that you could think could be the reason for her having this reaction here, right? I mean, yeah. So, the village understands the desires of its inhabitants. An undesired thing that has no buyers is transformed into a low value. Things that are changed into value are lost forever. Everyone knows that, so we all abide by the protection. The protection of the village is strong. Kaja can't do anything about it. So it really is. It's like the village itself. I mean, again, I'm like, I don't know. Did this place just exist already? Or is this something... It seems so in line with a lot of stuff that, like, Vueko and, like, other members of Ganja would care about, that's why it makes me think that, like, they orchestrated it and made it work this way, right? So, unfortunately, Pink Guy gets ripped to shreds, and they buy his body, but... And Riko gets some value. So I guess that's like the little marks on them, right? Like these ones have 1, these ones have 2, the other ones have 3, and then like the little stick figure looking thing has like, it has the circle and the line, and then it has like 4 lines on it, right? So I guess that's, yeah, makes sense, I guess. Hmm. Kaja will go past Kaja's body through. What does that possibly mean? I don't know. Anyway, we need to go find somewhere to sleep and eat. And Riko has picked up on this language real quick. So, I don't know, very impressive. What she says in a second is really stupid, though. At times like this, even if you don't know the language, it's key to keep calm and make yourself understood. It's like what? You should just keep repeating yourself in a language that the other person doesn't understand, and as long as you make yourself understood, they just magically get it. Unfortunately, I don't think that's how it works. I think you actually do have to know the language to be understood. But you know what? That's okay. Hmm. So we arrive at this inn. Very I don't know. The innkeeper makes some interesting noises. This place is like crazy though, right? Like, I don't know. All of the like when I saw this, it's so weird, right? It's like this stuff looks like it grew out of the ground, right? So, like, how... I mean, I guess someone could have just carved this room out of this place, right? Maybe that's what happened. Um, I don't know. It just seems so weird. Like, what is this place? You know? Here's their food. It doesn't look too good. I wouldn't be eating it. And Rico, unfortunately, uh, has a bad... There's some consequences for eating it. That's for sure. But Rico's stuck on the toilet, and we split up, which I don't know if I agree with this decision to leave Rico behind alone. But maybe she'll be fine. I guess we said that the balancing is going to protect her, so I guess. But everyone is going off to go see Faputa, who is the embodiment of value. Can go anywhere and will never perish. So we get a weird shot in a second of Faputa fading in to, like, show Irumyuui, right? What this is immediately making me think is, one, either Faputa is Irumyuui. That would make a lot of sense to me. This is, like, her monster form, right? Or because what Vueko said at the very beginning, right? And again, I'm so sure that little girl has to be Irumyuui, right? Like, Vueko said, like, when I found you, I was looking for something, blah, 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 in the first episode, right? She said, so Vueko values Irumyuui a lot, right? I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. So, if Faputa is Irumyuui, and let's say Vueko, right, this village is weird, and it seems so in line with a lot of things that perhaps Vueko herself would, like, orchestrate the village to, like, work in this way, right? If Irumyuui is Faputa, then Faputa being the embodiment of value makes a lot of sense, if that is, like, the thing that Vueko, like, values the most. Yeah, she would, and Vueko is in some way, like, an orchestrator of the way that the village works in the first place, right? That would make a lot of sense to me. So, I don't know. Okay, we're splitting up. He's gonna go check out Faputa. And Nanachi's gonna go with Majikaja to get some stuff for Rico. So, sounds good. So I assume all of them can't leave, right? They can't leave out of the green thing because they're bound to the village, right? But Red can. Here is a giant robot guy, alongside Faputa. So I immediately think that these weird robot guys are, like, they have to be related to Reg in some way, right? Like, for sure. Like, built in the same place or something. Obviously, they seem very different. Reg is very different from them, because Reg is, like, so human. And they seem much more, like, robotic, right? Like, it just seems like a real, like, robot, Especially the ones later, that they run into here, right? They seem so robotic and not at all, like, organic, like Reg does, But they were already here all of this time ago, before Orth existed, before anything existed, right? So it just makes you think... we don't know Reg's origins, and these guys have been around for a long time, right? Maybe these guys are like a proto-Reg, These were like, the technology of whoever built these things has improved, and now they can make things like Reg, right? Maybe that would make sense. But Ganja has arrived at the 6th layer. They have found the Golden City. Well, kinda, right? Yeah, it seems like a pretty rough place. Thank God we didn't run into this fucking Hydra-looking snake thing. Like, God. We were still unable to find a way to survive, and we talked about that already. Okay. That was a good episode. It's just so much stuff to think about thematically. I'm just very interested in it. Because it's so, like, this is such, like, there's so much, like, blatant, like, theme stuff going on, right? It's very obvious that you're supposed to really think about, like, what this means, right? Like, this whole, like, value stuff, But I'm just not entirely confident in my interpretations of it. But you know what? We'll get there. We'll get there. We got 8 more episodes or something. So, sounds good. Anyway, if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.